Good morning, children. Our next lesson is the Kings of Vijayanagara. In the previous chapter, we read about warriors and chiefs who had established control over the villages and how the Kakatiyas tried to bring them under their control and build a kingdom. The efforts of the Kakatiyas ended when the Delhi Sultans conquered Warangal. But soon another kingdom was built by a family of warriors who laid the foundations of a large empire called Vijayanagara or Karnataka. Vijayanagara means the city of victory. It was located on the banks of Tungabhadra river in Karnataka. According to history, it was founded by two brothers named Harihara Raya and Bukkaraya around 1336 AD with the blessings of a sage named Vidyaranya. The kings of Vijayanagara worshipped Sri Virupaksha. The Vijayanagara Empire lasted for about 250 years, though it was not ruled by kings of the same family. After the family of Harihara Raya and Bukkaraya of Sangam dynasty, Saluva, Tuluva and Araviti families ruled the empire one after the other. Some of those kings spoke the language Kannada, but Sri Krishna Devaraya gave due importance of Telugu language. On the north of the Tungabhadra river, some new kingdoms called the Bahmani kingdoms arose. Initially, it was one large kingdom with its capital in Gulbarga. Later on, between 1489 and 1520 AD, it broke up into 5 smaller kingdoms. How do we know about the Vijayanagara kings? We know much about Vijayanagara Empire from inscriptions, books and buildings of that period. We get insights into the daily life, the administration and the social organizations of the kingdom. Of particular value are the detailed accounts left by travelers from several countries. Nicola Conti from Italy, who visited Vijayanagara in 1420 AD. Abdul Razak, the Persian trader, who visited in 1443 AD. The Portuguese traveller Domingo Pais, who visited it in 1520 AD, and Nunes, who wrote in 1537 AD. Next, we move to the city of Vijayanagara. The city of Vijayanagara was built on the banks of the river Tungabhadra, next to the ancient temples of Pampa Devi and Sri Virupaksha. Abdul Razak says that the city had 4 separate divisions. The first one devoted to temples situated on rocky hills. The second one on the valley where crops were raised using water from irrigation channels. The third, a royal center in which royal palaces and the residences of important Nayakas were located. And the fourth one, allocated for the residences of ordinary townfolk. Each area was separated from the others. Vijayanagara rulers invested a lot of money in building their military power. One of the important rulers, Devaraya II of Vijayanagara, started recruiting Muslim fighters to serve him and to train his soldiers in the new modes of warfare. He also permitted the construction of mosques in the capital city. Next, the administrative system. Captains of the troop, the Amaranayakas. The entire kingdom was actually controlled and administered by the commanders of the armies. The captains mentioned were the Nayakas. These Nayakas held Amara revenue assignments, that is, they were given charge of some villages and cities whose revenue they could collect and use. They had an obligation to maintain a certain number of troops for keeping the revenue of such assignments. This was quite similar to the system of the Delhi Sultanate, whose nobles or amirs were given similar revenue assignments called iktas. Most of the Amaranayakas were Telugu warriors. They recruited their soldiers usually from among their own villages. These armies were loyal to the Nayakas. Next, most famous king in the Vijayanagara dynasty was Sri Krishnadevaraya. Krishnadevaraya ruled from 1509 AD to 1529 AD. He was a great general who led the Vijayanagara armies successfully against the Bahmani sultans and also against the Gajapatis of Odisha. During this period, the Portuguese had established their power over some parts of the western coast like Goa. Krishnadevaraya established friendly relations with them in order to get exclusive supply of horses and firearms from them. Every year, on the Vijayadashmi day, the king organized elaborate festivities and worship, which concluded with a massive parade of his armies. On this day, all the chiefs and Amaranayakas of the empire brought their tributaries to the king. Krishnadevaraya paid special attention to the temples of his kingdom and personally visited many of them like Tirupati, Sri Sailam and Ahobilam. He also donated to a large number of temples. Krishnadevaraya was also a patron of Telugu literature, and he himself composed the poetic work Amukta on the life of Vandal. His court was adorned by 8 poets known popularly as Ashtadigajas. The power of the Vijayanagara kings grew further during the time of Krishnadevaraya's successors Achyutadevaraya and Aliyaramaraya, as the Bahmani rulers were unable to fight the Vijayanagara individually. By 1565 AD, all the 5 Bahmani kingdoms joined together and defeated Ramaraya in a Rakkasi Tangani war, also known as Tallikota war. They looted and destroyed the city of Vijayanagara. The emperors who succeeded him shifted their capital to Chandragiri near Tirupati, but never regained the glory of earlier times. While a part of the empire came under the control of the sultans, the chiefs and nayakas became independent in other parts. The power of Vijayanagara kings grew further during the time of Krishnadevaraya's successors, Aliya Ramaraya and Achyutadevaraya. As the Bahmani rulers were unable to fight the Vijayanagara individually, by 1565 AD, all the 5 Bahmani kingdoms joined together and defeated Ramaraya in Rakkasi Tangani War, also known as Talikota War. They looted and destroyed the city of Vijayanagara. The emperors who succeeded him shifted their capital to Chandragiri near Tirupati, but never regained the glory of earlier times. While a part of the empire came under the control of the sultans, the chiefs and nayakas became independent in other parts. Around the year 1512, Kuli Qutub Shah, who was a governor of the Bahmanis in Telangana region, declared independence and established the Qutub Shahi dynasty of Golconda. Next, the important king in Qutub Shahi dynasty was Sultan Ibrahim Qutub Shah. Sultan Ibrahim Qutub Shah patronized Telugu literature, supported Brahmins and temples, and engaged in large-scale irrigation works like the Kakatiya kings. Ibrahim Qutub Shah was praised by poets as Malkibarama. They lived in capital Golconda, built Hussain Sagar Lake in 1562. In 1562, during the reign of Ibrahim Qutub Shah, he also built Purana Pool across the river Musi. Mir Momin Astrabadi was the architect of the city of Hyderabad during his time. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah built Makkah Masjid and Jama Masjid and also constructed the Charminar, the most recognizable symbol of Hyderabad. Hayat Bakshi Begum was the daughter of Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah. Built Hayat Bakshi Mosque located in Hayat Nagar, and she also known as Mama Sahib. Masab tank is a distorted version of Ma Sahaba tank. Mir Momin Astrabadi was the architect of the city of Hyderabad during his time. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah built Makkah Masjid and Jama Masjid and also constructed the Charminar, the most recognizable symbol of Hyderabad. Hayat Bakshi Begum was the daughter of Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah, built Masab tank. Abdul Hasan Tanisha was the last and the most popular ruler of Qutub Shahi dynasty. He appointed Kancharla Gopanna as Tahsildar of Palvancha country. Ramadasu diverted the public funds to construct Lord Rama temple in Bhadrachalam and got the jewellery for the idols of Rama, Sita and Lakshmana. Tanisha found Ramadasu guilty of diverting of public funds and put him in jail and released him after realization. Right from the times of Ibrahim Qutb Shah, the Mughals were keen on conquering this wealthy kingdom and eventually succeeded under Aurangzeb when he captured the fort of Golconda in the year 1687. So, children, I will continue the lesson in next session. Thank you.